Hey guys, Character97 again. This time with a review of the 1/100 scale real type Zaku 2, all the way back from the 80s. And the big difference between this and the normal Zaku is, of course, first and foremost, the color scheme. Instead of the lighter green, we now have a very, very dark, much more realistic forest green for almost the entire mobile suit. The dark green on the body has now become brown. And the black is, well, the black/gray is still pretty much the same. And what's even better news for this release is, even though it's a very old model, it's actually entirely color accurate, and the only sticker you need is one for the eye camera, which is why I wanted to say it's almost color accurate. But seriously, for a Zaku, the eye sticker is completely to be expected. So why don't we have a... Yeah, that's something that's gonna happen quite a bit. But back on topic, it's entirely color accurate. The only thing that you really have to paint, well, unless you want to get rid of some very nice seam marks, is maybe some of the joints. But technically, that's also color accurate. And then another really awesome thing we get with these real types is a giant sticker sheet. And really, this might be enough reason in and of its own to warrant the purchase. This is a really nice sticker sheet. We get so many stuff going on for the shield, for the body, all over. And what I really, really love is these little ones here, showing how many ships you shot down, how many mobile suits you shot down. That's just a really nice touch. We've got rank insignias, Xeon symbols, 06 for the Zaku, of course. So really, this sticker sheet is awesome. And then going on to articulation, because it's fairly articulate. Head goes up really far, down, rotates around about that far, and then the snout gets stuck. Not side to side because it's on a hinge. Arms will rotate around, go up surprisingly far, all the way like this, and it's not even hindered by the shoulder armor, which will also rotate. And the arms will rotate and fall out. The thing with the arms is, why they keep falling out now is, you're supposed, well, there's a piece in there that connects to the upper arm. But I glued it again, but once you start moving it around, because, you know, this is some very antique engineering they used. So for starters, it doesn't really connect all that well, and also inside, it's not really nice and rounded because it's like a bit, yeah, it's uneven inside. So when you turn it around, it's gonna get some extra pressure because it's uneven, and actually it will undo itself. So if you really want to move those arms around a lot, your best bet is to use some really strong super glue, because normal glue isn't going to cut it if you want to move it around a bit. Then the elbow, not quite 90 degrees, that's about 40, well, 50 degrees perhaps. Hands are on pegs and will rotate around. And I'm just going to leave these off for convenience now. Poor Zaku has been disarmed. Legs go forwards surprisingly far, even though front skirts, well, none of the skirts at all are articulated. And that's because there is an extra joint. That clicking didn't sound too good, which allows him to, first of all, rotate around. So he kind of, well, that makes him look a bit drunk, doesn't it? You go out about that far and backwards about that far. So not too bad looking from the side, but just normal straight, that's about as far as you're gonna get. Knees, single joint, just like the arms. Well, actually slightly less articulate than the elbows. And the feet, forwards and backwards, not side to side, and nothing else. So articulation, even though it's very, very antiquated, for the time, that's pretty much what you'd expect. One final thing, just to be sure, is that the spike shield here doesn't hinder the articulation whatsoever and goes up just as far as the right arm. And that's also a problem that Zakus have had, especially some of the older ones, that the spike shield sometimes gets in the way a bit, but here it doesn't get in the way at all. So that's some really good engineering there. Now for accessories, and this is once again where things start looking up. First thing we're getting, a heat hawk. Goes in the hands, and look at this. Look at this. A model kit all the way back from the 80s, antique, but it can hold its heat hawk. Always nice to see when Zakus can hold on to their own damn heat hawks. Seriously, an old model could do it, but a lot of newer models can't? Inexcusable. And then, what is a Zaku without the traditional Zaku machine gun? And for that, we get an extra hand. Technically, you're also supposed to glue this together, but since we have two halves of the peg, once you put in the hand, it will be held together. And if you glue them together, you won't be able to swap out the weapons. Simply pull out the hand, push in the new one, and there we go. And as to be expected, the scope here, well, the handle also moves, scope unfortunately doesn't. And when we put in this hand again, now just gotta hope it stays up. And there, push it back in. And there we go. I swear he can hold on to it. Let's spin it a bit more. Come on. Well, this really doesn't want to work now, does it? And there we go. Isn't that the most beautiful action pose you've ever seen? And other than... there it goes. And other than the machine gun, we of course also get the Zaku Bazooka. Now, don't you love how easy things always go off camera but not on camera? So it is Zaku Bazooka, just like Zaku machine gun, looks really good. And for such an old model, the Zaku Bazooka is pretty much spot on. And what you can also do is, let's try to do this one on never mind. You can also put it like this, but unfortunately, over the course of this review, my joints seem to have worn out completely. They weren't the greatest to begin with, because you don't get any polycasts with these antique models. And yep, now they seem to have given up completely. I was able to pull this off before the review, but right now, he's giving up, and it looks like he just wants to hold the bazooka like this. One fun thing you can do with his arm is replicate the damage from Zeta Gundam vs. Zeta Gundam for the PlayStation 2, which is a nifty action feature. And the final thing we gotta discuss with the accessories is the commander antenna, because you can actually have it both ways. You can either have it with or without the commander antenna. And what you have to do is, the head, well, the scalp you get is completely covered up, but there is one spot of very thin plastic that you can carve out where the commander antenna is supposed to go into. So that's how you decide whether or not you want to use the commander antenna. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? Well, 700 yen definitely isn't that expensive for a 1/100 scale figure, but of course you gotta take into account that this is not the greatest, to put it politely. But for the time, this was released in, this was actually a pretty good model. For starters, it is completely color accurate, which is something very rarely seen from these older ones, especially the ones from the first Gundam. It comes with a very nice sticker sheet. Well, and these are water slide decals, so fantastic. So, in perspective, back in the day, this was a great model kit. But do you still have a reason to buy it today? And well, unless you really want a nostalgic version of the Zaku, because this definitely is a very retro feeling kit, then well, that might be a reason to pick it up, but just for the average Gunpla builder, this is probably not gonna be on your immediate wish list. But nonetheless, I have to say, if you can disregard the quite obvious seam lines, this is still a very nice looking model kit straight out of the box, with some interesting accessories, and well, you might just occasionally have to fight with it a little bit in order to get it posed correctly. But overall, it's a nifty little thing. It's like more of a novel model kit to have rather than an actual display piece, if you know what I'm getting at. So that's really all about it, and let's do some size comparisons. First, let's put it next to a modern Zaku, and man, look at that difference. The Zakus sure have changed over time, haven't they? And for the better, fortunately. Then putting him next to the 1/144 scale again. Then next to another very nostalgic feeling Zaku, the High Great Universal Century, and well, you can still see which one of these looks the most retro. And for some best friends of the Zaku, here we have the Antique Jim and the Jim Kai. And you can see that, well, it's a bit dwarfed. It seems like it's a bit wider and also somewhat shorter than it should be. Another thing to take into account is it has this weird flat feeling. I don't really know how to describe it properly, but maybe with the shield out of the way. You can see the body seems really wide, but also very flat at the same time. So it's, well, due to age, it's slightly disproportionate. And finally, let's put him next to another older model, a great older model to be precise, the Garibaldi Beta, and man, is that thing bigger. Well, that's all for this review, and see you guys next time.